All right, we're back. I got to be honest with you guys. I always am, so I shouldn't say that. We're redoing this one. Kind of fucked the other one up because I went a little overboard and said some things. I got carried away, and so we had to redo this one. So if I look like a little different with the shaving thing after a day or whatever. All right, anyway, on to the passage. What's this about? The following excerpt by an anthropologist represents one point of view in the ongoing debate about cultural influences in the U.S. All right, doesn't really tell us much except cultural influences, one point of view in the U.S. All right, so we move on. Let's take a look. On a hot Friday afternoon in the last week of August, cars, pickup trucks, campers, and school buses slowly pulled into a park on the edge of Fargo, North Dakota. What the hell are they doing there? Let's take a look. It's about the American Indians, okay? We got the Great Plains. They gather for the powwow. Let's look at the next paragraph. Powwow. Here it says American Indian group, non-Indian. There's a contrast. Chiefs, tribes. It's Indian shit, okay? So it's about Indians. And probably like the powwow. Something about the chief. All right, let's take a look at the first question. This is not an easy one in the sense that, I'm qualifying that, in the sense that what? It says except. Now, when it says except, what does that mean? Well, 4 of these work and 1 doesn't, because it says the first 2 paragraphs serve all of the following purposes except to do what? So all of them work except for 1, okay? Now, I have a little strategy here that I haven't really checked. Hey, that's my phone. Anyway, I haven't really, it's not really a strategy, is what I'm saying. It's just like a hypothesis kind of that I have. Now, and I'm not going to tell it to you. All right. Okay, lines 1 through 29. Let's go to the passage. Let's look at the answers first. Oops, I'm a little flustered today for some reason. Maybe because I'm redoing this. All right, provide a narrative account to serve as an intro. 1 through 29, it says 1, intro, likely or unlikely? Very likely. Contrast American Indian social events with individual performances. Okay, there has to be a strict contrast. Create a sense of the permanence of some, we like some, American Indian customs. It addresses the American Indian thing. Inform the reader about the nature of a powwow. We saw a powwow, so we like that. Lead to a discussion of an important political concept. This is pretty easy. Why? Well, if 1 through 29 leads to something, then obviously line 30 and 31 and maybe 32 will talk about an important political concept which makes easy to eliminate, okay? Or easy to say, okay, it's in there. That's whatever. It's either in there or not, and it's easy to check. Jeez. All right, let's take a look. We'll do that one first. Okay, we go down to the bottom, then we go to this. Okay, so we see the link here with this, and we have a new, I shouldn't use a new thing, but this is a redo, so we have a new thing. This apparent penchant for respectful individualism and equality, this is our political concept, is it not? So we can get rid of E, okay? Now, what was the other thing? They said something about the powwow, right? Let's check that one. That's probably pretty easy. Inform the reader about the nature of a powwow. The nature of the powwow. First, we got to see, do they mention the damn powwow? Nothing about powwow here. Powwow may appear chaotic, da-da-da, da-da-da, okay? And they talk about the powwow here, okay? So we can get rid of that. So what have we gotten rid of? We've gotten rid of powwow, because it's in there. And then the important political concept we've gotten rid of. Now, how about this one? And why are we going backwards? Because that's what I was going to tell you. You should go backwards. A lot of the time, in order to waste your time, because these are pretty easy, because all you have to do is check. They're in there or not. But in order to make it difficult, what do? They put the answer at the end. Okay? Now, you could think that they might put the answer in the beginning to make you waste time on that because you're trying to look for something that isn't there, which is also quite tricky. But let's take a look. Create a sense of the permanence of some. We like the some thing, so we've got to think that it's in there. And it is about American Indian customs. But now we have to see, is it about permanence? Okay, so let's take a look. Now, they talk about the American Indian customs, not here, because they start talking about the powwow, okay? They say it's going to begin at 4. I think we should erase some of this so we can concentrate. All right, so what are we looking for? Permanence. Okay. So what does permanence mean? Like it's old, traditional, they keep doing it. Yes? Nothing in here. It must be in the first paragraph. Here's the powwow thing. It's the annual powwow. Okay, here we got a time reference saying annual. And what else? What the fuck? I can't see! Ah, traditional. That's another time reference. Okay, so this thing is, okay, and once again, annual, traditional, that's all like we do it over and over again. Like it's a big thing for the Indians, and it'll always be, okay? That's the sense of permanence that we're talking about here. Okie dokie. So now, narrative account and contrast. It's easy to check narrative account. Let's see if there is a narrative account. Well, what would they do if there's a narrative? He would just talk about the whole thing about that Indian thing where they went, okay? Like a story. What happened? To an outside observer attending for the first time this year's powwow, and they talk about the powwow, then what? Oops, sorry. Friday afternoon, they talk about this thing. Then they talk about attending the powwow the first time, the dances, 4 o'clock, it is a narrative. Then what do they start talking about? This apparent for penchant for respectful individualism and equality. They get to the real point. Adventure novels and Hollywood films set in the past often portray strong chiefs commanding their tribe. Now they're getting into the more analytical part. The first part is more like, here's our story, okay? The setting, okay, the intro. So we can definitely say that A is out. What about B? Contrast American Indian social events with individual performances. Okay, so we have to look for a contrast word, which is what? Like but, although, however, right? Okay. Let's see. Do we see any buts? Nope. May could be contrast, even though. But. There we go. That's it. So let's remember these things, and because I forgot the question, we'll look at the question again. It's contrast the American Indian social events with individual performances. Okay. Here. Even though signs, no, it's not about the signs. The power can, no, there's nothing about individual performances. What about this? No one is in charge. The announcer acts as a facilitator of ceremonies, but no chief, right? No, nothing like that. Everyone shows great respect for the elders, but at the same time, children receive attention for dancing, as does the audience. No, that's not it. And here it is. They say the whole group, but not to a single directing voice. So let's see what this says. Each participant responds to the mood of the whole group, but not to a single directing voice. So they're not really contrasting anything. They're just saying they respond to this, not that. Okay? So, who is this one? I'm well prepared today.